I'm just kidding, mateys. Let's get into some Fortnite Battle Room.
What's your favorite browser extension? Online shopping is easy, but not always affordable.
Alright.
I always want this. And it gets on the Twitter.
Let's do this, you little git.
I know. Don't worry, I'll do that next video. But right now we're doing this. So my friend Your Movie Sucks, great channel over half a million subs, asked me and a bunch of other YouTubers if we could talk about a movie that scared us as a kid. Now, growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch scary movies. I remember one time I tried to watch a movie downstairs, and I went down to see what all the noises were about, and my mom said, "Oh no, honey, you can't watch this, it's too scary." And then years later, I learned that the movie we were watching was Jurassic Park. I think I could have handled it, Mom. I don't know if you can tell by the length of this video, but it's going to be pretty different than the videos that I usually post. But I think it's good to try out new things, and hopefully we'll all have a fun time listening to me talk about this movie. Because, folks, I'm excited to share with you the movie that traumatized me most as a kid. And that movie is, drumroll please, you already read the title, The Dark Crystal. Okay, so The Dark Crystal came out in 1982, 14 years before I was even born. This movie was made for a whole different generation of people, but somehow I still saw it. I don't remember how I saw it, my family didn't own it on VHS, and I forget how old I was exactly, but let's say for the sake of this video, I saw this movie when I was 17. That's legally to a child. This movie was directed by Frank Oz and Jim Henson. Jim Henson is the creator of, I don't know if you've heard of this, but The Muppets. You might have seen them before. There's no denying that Jim Henson was a very talented man when it came to puppets. And the work he did on The Dark Crystal is amazing. As much as I'm about to talk this movie down, it's honestly a work of art. The most enjoyment I got rewatching it was just the artistic appreciation of the character design, the scenery, the costumes, and most importantly, the puppetry. Some of the puppetry was amazing. Like this shot. How'd they do that without CGI? And did I mention that there's no people in this film? Except for full body shots, and they just used a real person dressed up and had them not face the camera. But as I rewatched The Dark Crystal, I realized that the movie was kinda garbage. So instead of talking about the parts of the movie that scared me as a child, I'm going to be talking about why this movie was pretty bad. So now this video just turned into one of those bad movie review videos, but honestly, I like watching other people talk about bad movies, like The Room and Birdemic and what was that other one? I can't quite put my paw on. For this video, I ended up doing some research, something I don't normally do for videos, and oh man is this rabbit hole deep. Jim Henson had a bunch of ideas for the world of The Dark Crystal, but wasn't able to fit all of his ideas into 90 minutes of film. And because he didn't explain the rules of the world well enough, the movie suffered. It felt unfinished and unstarted. Basically, the movie didn't leave you wanting more, it just left you thinking,
what?
Wait, what? Some of you might be thinking, well, James, it's just a kid's movie. Kids are dumb. Why are you analyzing a kid's movie? Just shut up. Brian Proud, one of the head artists of the movie, said that when we finished the film, we knew that we had only seen a fragment of this other world. Bad fragment, I guess. So even the creators of this movie felt that they left out a lot of stuff. So in 2012, a 3-part comic book was published to be as a prequel to the movie, and I bought and read all 3 of them. And I will say that they did do a better job explaining the world that Jim Henson had in mind, but you shouldn't have to read a book before you see a movie. Especially since the books weren't available until after the movie came out. In the movie, stuff happens for no reason. Like in one scene, the main character, this is Jen, the main character by the way, get used to looking at this guy's face. I've done so much digging and research into this world that I'm completely desensitized by how weird this puppet looks. If you think this puppet looks creepy, you should have seen some of his earlier designs. Just be thankful this is what you ended up with. So in this scene, Jen is trying to pick out which of the crystal shards is the right one that he needs for his quest. And what does he do to find the right one? That's right, he plays his flute, and then the right shard he needed just glows. Wouldn't you do that too if you were in the same situation? This movie doesn't explain why the crystal lights the music, it doesn't come up later, it just happens. That's basically this whole movie. Things happening slowly.
Why is he was 2?
Take you on a magical journey, not too magical that it doesn't make sense. It is The Dark Crystal. The plot. It starts with the narrator telling us that there's this world and that it's dying. By the way, this world is named Thra. They don't mention it once in the movie, but in the prequels and in the Wikipedia article, they all called it Thra. Thra is dying because this one crystal, this one, cracked. How? I don't know. I mean, I do know because I read the prequels, but this movie doesn't tell us. Are you still with me? Good, we're not even a minute in. Because this crystal cracked, 2 new species were born. The cruel Skeksis, the bad guys, and the gentle Mystics, the good guys. And both species are dying. Now, I'm no biologist, but I think they're probably dying because there's no woman. That would wipe out a species pretty quickly, I think. Instead of having women, the Skeksis use the crystal to make them young again. Maybe. It's either the crystal or the sun.
So too they learn to draw new life from the sun.
Okay, so then what do you need the crystal for? Now we see the mystics, and with the mystics lives another creature called a gelfling. It's like an elfling, but with a G. You may remember him from earlier. He's naked now, but meet your protagonist, Jen. This movie makes up so many words, just try and keep up.
And a journey must begin. The journey of Jen.
Okay, that's a little pretentious movie. Alright, let's tone it down a little. Then we see that the Emperor Skeksis is dying, oh no, and then we get the second scariest scene in the whole movie. Yeah, we're not even 15 minutes in and we're at the part that gave me nightmares. Then the mystic that's basically Jen's dad is also dying. He tells Jen that he needs to find a cracked piece of the crystal, the shard, and then he just needs to plop that sucker back in the crystal where it belongs. And then boom, boom, the world is saved. Again, they don't explain why doing this would save the world. Like, they could have at least tried to make something up, like once the crystal is fixed, women will appear. Jen's dad tells him to
follow the greater sun or attain the home of Orgrimmar.
Now, I'm no astronomer, but I think following the sun for a day would just make you go in a circle. What am I supposed to do when it's noon? Now, the Skeksis, they're like, oh, well, dang it, guys. Who's going to be our new emperor? This Skeksis named Chamberlain.
It's time to make my move.
Who is my second favorite character in this whole movie, thinks that he should be emperor. I mean, who wouldn't want to be emperor of like 8 other bird monsters? The way that you can remember that this Skeksis is Chamberlain is that every time he's on camera, he says this. Hey man, you can't. Oh yeah? Fight me for it, replied Chamberlain. Since these two are puppets and don't have lower bodies, which is super disappointing, so instead the two have a competition to see who can hit a rock the hardest. That's how you tell who's fit to lead. You can't have someone be your emperor when they can't even hit a rock that hard. Anyway, banish him and rip up his clothes. Okay, now hold on. Do you see what's funny about this screenshot? This Skeksis is wearing glasses, meaning in this universe optometrists exist, and this Skeksis had to go through an eye exam to get his prescription. Do you like number 1 or number 2? Does anyone else think that's funny? No? Alright. Anyway, after the Skeksis banish Chamberlain, they see in the crystal that there's this gelfling just walking around. Man, I didn't know the crystal could snitch like that. So they send out these crab monsters to get him. And by the way, those crab monsters are called Garthams, and they are created by this handsome Skeksis. You'd know that if you read the Wikipedia article. Anyway, back to Jen. What's he up to?
I'm not ready to go alone. Grammarly helps make your writing clear and concise, no matter where you are. With Grammarly on your computer and phone, you always have an expert writing assistant. Land the job with a cover letter that stands out, thanks to flawless writing and compelling word choice. Inspire your team with a perfect presentation by catching and correcting errors in spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Impress your boss with a well-written proposal that gets straight to the point. And be sure your writing comes across clearly by checking your tone. Grammarly helps you write better, however, wherever you write in your profession.
You did it all at the
Go to Grammarly.com to download.
Clean it up. Clean it up.
Alexa, turn the heating on. Whatever life throws at you, outsmart it with Hive.
Alright. Hello. Took you long enough. They're supposed to follow the sun to Agura's house. Agura's? He runs into her and she's this old hag who tells him that the 3 suns are going to line up soon, and when that happens, the world might end. Or it will begin. He doesn't know.
I know because I've already seen this movie.
She also, for some reason, has a box of crystals. One of them is the shard that Jen is looking for, but she doesn't know which.
Which one is it?
Don't know.
So Jen narrows down the box of crystals to 3 shards.
It's one of these 3, I'm sure.
What? No, you've never even seen the Dark Crystal. How do you know it's one of those? Whatever. Okay, I can roll. Then, if you remember, Jen gets the idea to play the flute at the shard, and then the correct shard just glows for some reason. Why does the crystal react to flute music? That's not a thing. Crystals don't have ears. Now, when you create a fantasy world, you can't explain everything. Sometimes the answer is just, oh, it's magic. In Frozen, they don't explain how Elsa got her ice powers. She was just born with it, okay? It's magic. And the audience is all okay with it, as long as they don't take it too far. But this movie just tries to pull off so much stuff that doesn't make sense. There's a line, and this movie crosses it multiple times. Then the crab people attack Yura's house, Jen escapes with a shard, boom, next day. Okay, I know I've been talking bad about this movie, but the amount of detail in this forest scene is pretty amazing. I mean, it's not doing anything to drive the plot forward, I just think it's cool to look at.
You don't know.
Anyway, back to review mode. Jen falls in the mud, what an idiot, and then he meets up with the... Oh, jeez, that's a girl! That's a girl! So there's a girl Gelfling now, her name is Kira.
I'll take a potato chip.
She's speaking gibberish. And then for some unexplained, unimportant reason, when they touch hands, they share memories. I mean, I don't know exactly what happens when you touch hands with another woman. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think that's supposed to happen.
What's happening? We're dream fasting, sharing our memories.
Having a bath.
Okay, three things. First, this seems like a plot-devicey way to just throw in some backstory, but whatever. Second, Jen, you just found out that you're not the last of your species, and when you realize that you're sharing memories with her, you decide to show this person you just met you having a bath. I mean, I guess she did show you her mom dying, so let's just get all that personal stuff out of the way. And third, somewhere on Earth, there exists a baby, naked Jen puppet, and I need to have it. Then we're introduced to my third favorite character, Kira's dog, Fizzgig. He doesn't really add anything to the story, he's just that lovable pet/side character. Hey, that's a lot like my dog. Hey, Bobby! Also, Kira can talk to animals. Okay. Then we're treated to this really great scene. A whole 2 minutes of the Skeksis eating. But honestly though, I kinda love this scene. It does a great job creeping me out. Okay, it does go on for a minute too long, but bear with me here. The Skeksis' clothing and silverware are Victorian, so it gives off a haunted mansion sort of vibe. And just the character design and the way the Skeksis are eating, it just comes off as unnerving. A lot of movies' scary parts are jump scares or gore. At least I think they do that. I'm not allowed to watch scary movies. But this is such a different way to unease an audience. It kind of reminds me of the first half of a Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared video. Nothing necessarily scary is happening, but it's still able to make the audience feel uncomfortable. Basically, the whole point of this scene was that the crab people were like, hey, we got this old hag, but we didn't get the Gelfling. And then the Skeksis were like, wow, okay, release the crystal bats.
Crystal bats fly! Search the land! Search the water! Search the sky!
Okay, this might be nitpicking, and I'm no Gelfling expert, but I think you can rule out searching the sky. I don't see too many Gelflings just flying around. So one of the bats finds Jen and Kira, they go back to Kira's village. Jen doesn't even know where he's supposed to take the shard. His dad never told him what to do after he got the shard. He tells Kira about his quest and what Elgura told him.
You know the three suns in the sky? They're going to come together soon. It's called the Great Something.
Even Jen doesn't remember these made-up names. It really would have been convenient if you told her this information when you were sharing memories. So then the crab monsters show up and basically murder and capture Kira's whole family. Yeah, it was pretty traumatizing. And right when the crab monsters are about to attack Jen and Kira, Chamberlain comes out of nowhere to remember that guy. He steps in between them and stops the attack, and Kira and Jen escape because Chamberlain saved them. Oh, and then Jen throws away the shard. Boom, next day. Kira finds the shard that Jen threw, and then the two find some hieroglyphics about a prophecy. It says a Gelfling is going to save the world and kill all the Skeksis. It doesn't matter. And then, oh, Chamberlain shows up. Hey, Chamberlain. Hey, guys, I'm sorry for killing your entire species. We just didn't want a prophecy to come to fruition. You understand, right? So what if we all go to the castle together, we can eat some food, play the whole thing over. What do you think? And then he says, please, a lot. Now how can you say no to this lovable guy? He just got kicked out of the Skeksis Club, he's all alone, he just saved you from some crab monsters, and he did say please a lot. I'm just saying, if I was Jen, I totally would have trusted Chamberlain 100%. But instead, Jen just stares at him blankly, and then Kira ruins everything and tells Jen not to trust him, and then they run away. Wait! Please make peace! That might have been the right call. So then, for some reason, Kira knows where the castle is, and since she can talk to animals, she calls up these things called Landstriders. They're just a person walking on 4 stilts, and they ride the Landstriders all the way to the castle. I have a lot of problems with this next scene. So one of the Skeksis takes a podling that they just captured, locks it into a chair, and tells the podling that they're going to suck its essence away and make it a slave.
It won't hurt. We just want to drain your living essence. Then you can be the same as the other podlings here. A slave.
You know, the podlings don't speak English. They speak a whole different language. The Skeksis is just talking gibberish to this guy while he's just locked in a chair like, what's going on? Like, none of what you're saying is going through this guy's head. And so only the Emperor can drink the essence, and that will make him stay young forever. So what do you need the sun for? And also, what killed the last Skeksis? Looked like old age to me. Yeah, that's cool and all, but we get the most terrifying scene of the whole movie. That's right, this is the winner. You gave me the most nightmare scene. You win $1 million. Congratulations, scene. I can go on for hours about how this part of the movie gave me nightmares, but honestly, it speaks for itself. I think what made it worse was that the podling was tied down to the chair, and he was just so helpless, and his whole face melted off, and just ugh. But now that I'm older, all I can think is, what do you guys need slaves for? So far, the only thing slaves have done was pull on a rope to make some swords appear out of the ground, and bring you guys a plate of food. Why is there such a high demand for slaves that you need to make new ones? What do you guys even do all day? Then Kira and Jen arrive at the castle, they see the crab people taking the pod people into the village. They try and save the podlings, but completely fail. The Landstriders die immediately. Jen and Kira open the cage that the podlings are in, and then the two get cornered, and what are they going to do, you ask? Well, isn't it obvious? They're going to jump and slowly float down to safety, because Kira has wings! That never came up in the memory sharing bit. So I guess when the Skeksis told the crystal bats to search for the Gelflings in the sky, they weren't that far off. Hey Kira, sorry we left the whole family back there. We totally didn't save them, like, at all. We're probably gonna get turned into slaves now. Okay, we're almost done, everyone. We're getting to Climax Town. Jen and Kira sneak into the castle. Chamberlain's there. He basically murders Jen. And since he captured a Gelfling, he's not an outcast anymore. You guys should have just went with him the first time. Now 2 Landstriders are dead. Kira goes into the slave room, and as a kid, I was already so traumatized the first time seeing a podling get turned into a slave, and now seeing Kira getting her essence taken away, I lost my mind. Oh, shoot! Kira's getting turned into a slave! Luckily, remember the old hag of Brooke? She's like, yo, you can talk to animals, just ask them to help you. Oh, okay. She breaks free, and the animals push the Skeksis that was in the room down this pit, and that kills them. Leading up to this point, it's hinted that the Skeksis and the Mystics are, like, connected. When something happens to a Skeksis, there's a Mystic counterpart that experiences the same thing. So when this Skeksis died, there was a Mystic just walking around, and none of the other Mystics react. Yeah, it happens. Then we see that the Mystics can control the crab monsters. I'm guessing it's because they're connected to the Skeksis, who also can control the crab monsters. So having a Mystic go with Jen on his journey in the first place would have been super helpful back when Kira's village was getting raided. Alright, let's just wrap this up. This kid dies, Jen's not really dead. He finds the dark crystal, jumps to it, and then drops the shard. Kira has to throw the shard back together. And while she's doing that, she gets murdered. I said spoiler warning, right? And then Jen plops that sucker back into the crystal. The castle crumbles around everyone, and the world is saved. But first, the Skeksis and the Mystics walk into each other because they're connected, remember? They become one again, and are you ready for this? They walk into each other, and they turn into tree aliens. I'm not even joking. According to the prequels, these things are actually aliens. This is what the whole movie has been building up to. The bad guys are just one half of a schizophrenic alien tree person, and if you read the prequels, you know that. Is this supposed to be a plot twist? Because to me, it just seems like a plot is doing whatever it wants. so much weird, unexplained stuff has already happened in this movie, so at this point, I don't even care. By the way, Kira and Fizzgig don't actually die. This is a kid's movie after all. And then the world is saved, even though there's only like 3 people who inhabit it now. The end. So that was the movie. Want to know something funny? I've already used more words in this video than there were words in the entire movie. Also, I need to ask, Jen was supposedly the chosen one.
At this time, Jen is the chosen one.
But I would make the argument that Kira should have been the chosen one. Let me go down my list. She saved Jen from the mud, she sniped a crystal bat out of the sky, when the crab monsters attacked her, she had to tell Jen to run, she found the shard on the ground after Jen threw it, she tells Jen not to trust Chamberlain, she knew where the castle was and got the Land Striders to take them there, used her wings to float Jen down to safety, she was able to get out of being turned into a slave by herself, and she threw the shard back to Jen after his Butterfingers dropped it. And how does she get rewarded? By getting stabbed. All Jen did was play a flute out of magic rock. This guy's a doofus. Who chose Jen to be the chosen one? Bad choice. Now, I've said who my second and third favorite character in this movie is, but who's my favorite character? There's only like 3 other characters to choose from, so who is he? Well, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite character isn't in this movie. My favorite character of the Dark Crystal universe is Rayunip, Agura's son. Okay, I know I just finished the movie, but let me talk about the prequel comics for a minute. Remember Agura, the old lady? Well, turns out she's an immortal being that's been around since the creation of this world. Alright, and one day a meteor hits the planet, and she, like anyone else would do, gives life to it. And out pops Rayunip, and he's basically the main character of the prequel books, and is also technically an alien. I like him because he's the only one who questions what's going on. He asks the same questions I'm asking. So he's my favorite, he's the only character I ever wanted to cosplay. If they ever make prequels into a movie, I call dibs on playing Rayunip. That's how it works. I call dibs on playing this character. I just show up to auditions and I'm like, I actually called dibs, so... Also, in the second book, Agura and her son are having a moment, and Rayunip says, "Will you remember me, Mother? After all the harm I caused? I will never forget you, child." Well, you didn't really seem to remember him in the movie. Also, if there's any producers watching, that was my audition just now to play Rayunip. Would I recommend you watch The Dark Crystal? Well, I did just spoil the whole thing, so no, it would be a waste of time at this point. But if I was talking to someone who hasn't watched this video, then yeah, I would recommend it. Even with all of its flaws, I still think it's a creative film, and I don't know, maybe it'd be fun to talk about it afterwards. Maybe I was desensitized doing all this research, but I also enjoyed the prequel comic books. After all, my favorite character's in there. There's also a manga that was made, Legends of the Dark Crystal, and it's supposed to take place in between these books and the movie, so these books don't even bridge the gap between the start of it leaves still on a cliffhanger. These books still leave on a cliffhanger. Speaking of manga, there were plans to make a sequel to The Dark Crystal, another movie, but the film ended up getting canceled. But a 12-part comic series is being produced by Boom Studios, and it's not even completed yet. They're only on like the 2nd installment. This is recent, you guys, and now is a great time to get into the Dark Crystal fandom. Like I said, I think The Dark Crystal is a creative story. Jim Henson really bit off more than he could chew making this movie. But seeing how many comics have been made to tell this story, maybe The Dark Crystal is told better through comics and not with the limitations of puppets from the 80s. Anyway, that's just what I thought about the movie. If you're hearing this, that means you made it. This video has... and publish. A 23-minute long movie review about an 80s puppet movie sure is different than the content Well, it's a good thing I'll never, ever have to worry about this franchise review.
What?
Hey, do you want to save money when you shop online? You should click right here and download Honey. No. Don't click there. Click here. Click here. Click it! Click now and you won't learn to download Honey and save money at thousands of stores online, which, again, you can do by clicking right...
Hey, are you gonna make a video about this?
Probably not. Are you?
Only if something interesting happens. I want to tell you all the story about what happened at Mr. Beast's 100K YouTuber Battle Royale. This is going to be quite a long video, so some of the drawings are going to be done by other people, and I'm going to be recording this on different microphones, so sorry if I sound different. I'm not that sorry, I don't care. And I want to tell the story in its entirety. I don't want to cut anything out or split it into 2 videos, because the story I'm talking about is already up on Mr. Beast's channel, so what's the point of making people wait for a conclusion when you can just go and see what happens? If you've already seen Mr. Beast's video, which a lot of you probably have, this story has already been spoiled for you, and you know how it's going to turn out. Still stick around, because I'm going to go into detail about the events that led up to the big fight, and sprinkle in just a healthy amount of embellishment. And if you live under a rock and don't know what I'm talking about or who this Mr. Beast character is, then pull up a chair and let me explain Studios. This is going to be quite the video. This is Mr. Beast, a 20-year-old YouTuber that after a couple of years of making cringy Minecraft intro compilations and how much money does X YouTuber make, he started uploading some unique challenge videos. But they weren't your normal challenge videos you see on YouTube, like the Cinnamon Challenge or the In My Feelings Challenge. He challenged his endurance by making videos like reading the dictionary in 1 sitting, or counting to 200,000, road to 1,000,000. Then he started one-upping his challenges by making some big and questionable financial decisions, like buying 100 T-Rex costumes, or literally giving out tens of thousands of dollars to people. His videos got insanely popular, which meant he earned more money, which meant he could spend even bigger quantities of money on videos, and in turn get more views because of how crazy they were, and then he got more money, and the cycle just continued, making him one of the fastest growing channels on YouTube. In 2015, he celebrated his 7K subscriber milestone, and in 2019, he's got over 16 million subscribers. The dude's been blowing up, and about a year ago, I sent him a Twitter DM saying, where do you buy so many things in bulk? Like, random example, sprinkles. Because I needed to know, I just wanted to know who his supplier was, because Walmart banned me. We ended up chatting on Discord for a bit, and he told me that the reason he makes videos is to entertain people. The amount of money he's giving away, the fact that he's probably losing money on some of these videos, it's obvious that he's not making these videos for the money, and I respect that. Also in the call, he told me he was playing Fortnite, and I said that my favorite video game was Tetris, and he said, yeah, you seem like the kind of person that would like Tetris. What's that supposed to mean, beast? Well, who's laughing now? Tetris is the best Battle Royale game out there. Tetris 99. Download it for free on the Switch today. They don't sponsor me. So that's who Mr. Beast is, for the 6 people watching who didn't know. Fast forward to February 2019, I'm at VidCon London. Me and Dave from Boy in a Band were getting ready to perform Life is Fun in front of a bunch of UK blokes, and I was browsing Twitter and I saw this tweet from the Beast himself. Attention Epic Gamers. On March 6th, I'm hosting an in-real-life YouTuber Battle Royale with airsoft guns. Royal. That says Royal. I'm just going to use a computer voice.
There?
$100,000.
Hi.
The NLA and similar to Dude Perfect's video, which BTW I really enjoy. Reply Fury out about and wanted.
The tweet was only sent 10 minutes ago. It was pretty fresh. And looking through my pocket calendar, I wasn't doing anything that day. I could make it to the event. I asked Dave, do you think I should do it? I forgot what he said, but he probably said something like, oh yeah man, you'd be so great today. When did you get so handsome? You're the best!
Who the fuck are you playing?
So I replied to the tweet. Shut up!
Papa, shut up!
I added to a group chat with 6 other YouTubers, so I wrote,
Daya and Daya's mum.
and the very next thing I saw was Mr. Beast added Logan Paul. In my mind, recently came out as a
That Earther Logan Paul? That Logan Paul? Okay, please. Shh, please, okay?
So in the group chat, Mr. Beast explained the rules. It would be an airsoft battle, and everyone would have 3 balloons attached to them. And once your 3 balloons got popped, you were out. This match wasn't going to be a free-for-all like the Hunger Games. We were going to be on teams of 3. So I was going to get paired up with 2 random people. I mean, I would have preferred if one of them had been a Paul boy, but no big deal. Hopefully, whoever my teammates are would know what they're doing and carry the team, because I sure as heck wouldn't. Jane Animations was also at VidCon, and I told her, guess what I'm doing?
Oh wait, yeah, I know where it is.
You're the best, she said. I said, Jaden, the battle's... I don't know anyone else to watch. You want to go to war with me? Now this is the first for me. Never in my life have I ever had to ask someone, hey, do you want to fight me in Battle Royale against a bunch of other YouTubers for the chance to win $100,000? Jaden said, yeah, sure. I asked him, are you still looking for more people for the YouTube Wario? My friend Jaden was interested, and I think it would be good if me and her were on a team because our channels are so similar. And he replied with,
Yes, she wants you to rewind. 100%.
and I was like, oh, Yeah, she did do that. I probably didn't have to send you her channel. So Jaden never publicly said she was going to be in the fight, but she was. Surprise!
Back me.
It made me feel like the popular kids when they gotta pick teams for kickball. First time I gotta feel that experience.
I've been sniped.
Actually, I noticed one name on the list. Anthony Padilla. I've been to conventions and I've seen how young some of you are, so I gotta explain who Anthony is. Just bear with me, big kid. Before some of you were born, there was this big YouTube channel called Smosh. And when I was 12, that was one of the YouTube channels that I watched. So imagine how gleeful I was when a big part of my childhood asked me to do a couple videos with him to go up on his channel. Since Anthony and I had already done 2 videos together, Andy's done one with Jaden, Andy pet my dog, I thought we were close enough to have him on the team. Also, 2 of the 3 people on our team are vegan, so we decided to name ourselves 66% Vegan. That's actually not true.
Where are you?
The day was fast approaching, and I'm gonna level with you. We did not have high hopes for winning. Anthony tweeted out, "Tomorrow I'll be in
someone's
Mr.
being
Beast's
boogie bombed.
YouTube Battle Royale."
Where are you?
A total of 3 hours of sunlight. Please send us words of encouragement and support. Everyone in the group chat was hyping up how good they were at shooting guns and how seriously they were going to take this. Meanwhile, between the 3 of us, we had played a total of 2 Fortnite games and a lot of Tetris. We showed up to the arena and I barely knew it. Keemstar was there for some reason. I don't know if Keemstar likes me.
Where? In here?
I wasn't too worried about getting hurt because people were going to be aiming for our balloons, not our bodies. But when I saw the gear, the balloons were just about way over us. So everyone was going to have to William Tell our balloons up. No big deal. None of us really need our heads anyway. No big deal. Before the main fight, there were a couple of practice rounds that were happening on a smaller field. And during the practice round, our
Maniac, brother.
Anthony's gun wasn't working. Didn't know how to put the magazine in. And I didn't know how to aim. All of our balloons got obliterated.
Stupid thing.
Like I said, we didn't have high hopes. Whenever I go to an event, a question I get asked a lot is, would you make a video about this? And every time my answer is always, if something interesting happens. Look, I'm sorry, kid. I'm not just going to make a video like, hey guys, so I went to this school and talked to these kids about being a YouTuber, and everyone was well-behaved and super nice. Anyway, next week's on the next video. Please don't share on the video where I went to Australia and spent close to 2 hours. So I asked Jaden, you want to make a video about this? She said, probably not. But if you want to, you can. I said, yeah. Only if something interesting happens, though. Jaden, thank you so much for this.
Come on then, guys, let's
After the
go.
practice round, our team got up by ourselves because we didn't have any friends. And Jaden and Anthony talked to each other about being vegan, and I ate my chicken pesto sandwiches as discreetly as possible. We also talked about
There's a storm
potential
coming.
strategies. Like if someone started shooting at you, then just shake your head as violently as possible, so that way they can't hit your balloons. Yeah, that'll work, we told ourselves. But deep down, we knew. I just hope we're not last, I said. I'd be happy if we made it in the top 10. There were a total of 13 teams.
We're not that
I would have been happy if we were in the top 10. I didn't expect to pop anyone's balloons. Just as long as they didn't lose horrifically, I'd be happy. So, I know how these videos work. About 40 people show up to the event. There's no way that everyone was going to have an equal amount of screen time. If you're not interesting, then you're not going to make the cut. So, realizing this, our team also wanted some screen time. I drove an hour to get here. I didn't want it to go to waste. Some people took 14-hour flights from Australia to get here, so I hope they had a fun time. The match was about to start, and our team got dark green balloons, and we saw another team that had lime green balloons. We talked to the other green team, which consisted of What's Inside, his son Lincoln, and Cat Burley. We joked with them like, hey, other green balloons, since no one can tell us apart, maybe we should team up.
I just saw one.
But the way the match played out was interesting. We didn't get to choose where we started. The map was split up into 13
snipering me.
Before the match started, someone on the team would pick a number out of the hat, whichever number you got would be the zone you started in. That way, when the match started, the teams would be equidistant from each other. And to make it more interesting, you didn't begin the game with any weapons. Those were scattered around the field. And the closer you went into the center of the map, the better the weapons were. Supposedly. That's what they told us. So we all
Why did we stop there?
One of the Hunger Games workers walked us to our zone. We looked around and saw one gun super close, one gun at a medium distance, and one gun pretty far away.
Oh,
Okay,
this is
Jaden and I
me.
get the close gun. You go get that medium gun and cover me while I get the far gun. Then an airborne blast in the distance. and the game began.
Is it a person in real life
Gun quickly snatched it and ran back to where it was. Jaden had her gun, but Anthony was empty. Someone already grabbed the far gun. Instead, I grabbed it, flipped the white. And it didn't take long for them to start sending BTs our way. There wasn't a structure we could hide in. No way of fighting back. The white team pushed us into a corner of the map, and a chain link fence stopped us from retreating any further. Looks like we're not going to make it to the top 10 after all, Beacons. But then we saw the team to our right, and it was none other than the lime green team. With their reaction, we walked up to them with our hands in the air like a just hoping that they remembered the very unofficial agreement that we had between us green. And fortunately, they took pity on it. They let us walk past them without shooting us, and they gave Anthony a crappy handgun. And we all agreed, okay, let's not shoot each other. Well, remember, we later found a better gun for Anthony, and we also found a pretty good hiding spot that let us shoot at other teams while also keeping our precious balloons covered. Every second minute, off part of the map, making it smaller, forcing the teams to get closer to each other, just like the Hunger Games. But in the meantime, we were perfectly fine waiting in our hiding spot for the 7 minutes to go by.
Would you rather eat a whole pack of cigarettes or eat a whole pack of cigarettes or
Dare, are you Dad?
stay in a dumpster overnight?
Dare.
No, it's full of garbage.
Hello?
Yeah, I'll just say doesn't matter.
Protein!
Okay.
I think we gotta make some videos. We're just gonna be doing nothing. Well, we're not losing. True.
And
Who
then
is?
after the 7 minutes, the map shrunk, and we and the lime green team got a little closer together, and What's Inside asked one of the reps, hey, is it okay if we team up? And the rep said,
What?
I
To
don't
kill
know, I
what
just work
things?
here. So cool, we teamed up. It was funny because we still didn't completely trust each other. One time we moved locations, and Casper told Lincoln, you go in front and I'll be in the back, so if they try to shoot you, I can hit them.
Oh, yeah.
There go my murder plans.
Damn,
We
what
shot
are
at
you?
other players and they shot back. Lime green team lost some balloons, but I still had all 3 of mine. The map kept getting smaller and smaller, and one of the staff told us that we had to be behind this line of caution tape. So when I bent down to go under the tape, my 3 balloons got caught and I was stuck. I think other people were shooting at me. But one of the workers saw my helpless self and decided to free me from his trap, and surprisingly, none of my balloons popped.
They're there. I got my balloons.
What the frick? Are these things made out of metal? Casper and Lincoln unfortunately weren't as lucky. All their balloons hit the deck.
Yeah, you
Our
stupid
team
friend.
had What's Inside, moved into a bunker. Anthony had 1 balloon left. Jaden had 2 left. And I still had all
Can't
3
do
of
it
mine.
with
I got hit in the head, back, had some BTs scratching my neck, but that's not important. The only thing that's important is that I still had all 3 of my balloons. Oh, phew, someone else. We found out what was inside. What's inside? It was William. He was standing in the bunker with us. Any one of our
That's
balloons
Lucy
could have been
dancing.
but death picked him. Our lime green brethren were out. Look what's
Now
inside
you're
my
mad.
hands. They're bullets. I want you to have them. And also, what's inside my heart is my faith in you guys. We had gotten shot at a bunch of times that somehow we were still in the game. The amount of teams that were left were getting small. Someone was shooting at us from our old hiding spot, and Anthony knew that there was an opening on the side he could use for a surprise attack. So Anthony stealthily walked out of the bunker and flanked the other team. And at that moment, I thought of how cool it was that someone I had been watching for 10 years was one of my teammates. I remember moving for what food he was going to use back in food battles. He's one of the pioneers of YouTube. He inspired countless young creators like me to start making videos. Did you know in Jake Paul's book, You Gotta Want It, Jake actually credits Smosh for inspiring him and his brother to make videos as well.
You gotta catch her there.
Anthony!
the way he was.
Is that the person who killed all of us in
I
the
hear
training
ya.
lab?
Yeah. If you shoot a video game, and when you shoot someone's last balloon, they can still shoot you before they realize you're out. Man, this whole balloon system seems kind of flawed.
You were hit,
Keep
babe.
asking people, I think you shoot balloons. You can't see how many balloons you have
storm.
yourself.
Yeah, I'll
There's
shoot
no way
you.
of telling
Here, take one of my balloons.
Shut up. You have to win. But team 66% beat.
What?
But if you shoot me, you hit too.
50%.
If if I shoot you, I hate you.
Only
Where are
Jaden and I
you?
were left. The map was incredibly small at this point, and we were hiding behind some
Right, if
boxes
you
and
shoot
water
me,
cooler things.
I hate
Alex Ernst,
hate
I'm a big fan of, by the way, turned the corner and I shot his last balloon. That didn't make it in the final video, so none of you would have known that.
Where the hell are you? I won't
But
shoot.
then, it ran out of ammo. I'm out.
Come help us.
Oh no, Jaden didn't have any extra on her, so I couldn't do anything. We were getting shot at and I had nothing to fight back with. I thought, Jaden, I'm gonna have to go find a gun somewhere. Alex tried to charge me and he lost. Okay, so they are possible. I'm surprised I made it this far. But then something horrible happened.
We're in
Jaden said, I'm out. Let's get to you. That's so.
But if you touch me, I will.
What do we do? Oh no! How are we going to pop other people's balloons without Phoebe? Well, this looks like it's a day. It's over.
Where the hell is
Why
it
are we
now?
still here? Just to suffer. Every night I can feel my leg
Well, I'm going.
and my arm, even my fingers. The body I've lost, the comrades I've lost. Stop hurting. It's like they're all still there. You feel it too, don't you? I'm gonna make them pay.
I got him!
You got him? Oh!
Is that it?
Jane wanted me to tell you that it sounds like she's crying here, but she wasn't crying. She doesn't cry. And then the second game happened, but that no one cares about that. And that's how Team 66% Vegan won $100,000. Split into 3 ways, we each got $33,333. 33 cents. But then we had 1 penny left, so we decided to donate it to charity. Okay, but for real, I do plan on doing something with the prize money, but that is another story for another time. Because this video is getting way too long, and I just want to be done. Actually, can you leave some suggestions about what I should do? I'm not entirely sure what I should do. Big thanks to Jaden and Anthony for being awesome teammates, but also big thanks to Jaden for firing the winning shot that won us $100 grand. That was super cool. Also, big thanks to our Lime Green brethren, because if it wasn't for them, we would have started the game completely cornered and probably would have lost. I did not go in expecting to win this. I don't think anyone in the entire world thought that 2 animators and an OG YouTuber could beat a bunch of gamer guys. In fact, here are some of the naysayers that didn't believe in us. That you feel really silly right about.
Who's it?
Anyway, I'm going to be doing some events in the near future. More info will be in the description. But if you're watching this in the late future, check out the events tab on my website to see what I'm up to. Thanks to everyone who worked on this video and made it look aesthetically pleasing. They're the best. And also, big thanks to Mr. Beast for organizing the event and giving me some content for this channel. That's it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Wear your seatbelt. Plugging cars for them to Let's pretend you get on the bus and it's super crowded. The only spot that's open is between. So you sit down between 2 people you never met and everyone is fine. Everyone's keeping to themselves, no one's making eye contact, it's perfect. Sure, your shoulders are touching, but that's just what happens. That's part of the bus-going experience, you poor person. But then at the very next stop, aisle seat guy gets off. So now you and window seat guy are sitting right next to each other. But since you're in the middle, you have to be the one to decide, do you move or not? I honestly don't know what the right thing to do in that situation is. I'm conflicted. Because if you move, it would be silently telling the other person, hey, you're disgusting. I can't stand having our shoulders touch any longer, and I'm glad to finally get away from you. Ugh. But on the other hand, if I was the window seat guy, I would want the middle seat guy to become the new aisle seat guy. I wouldn't see moving as rude. I would just want his gross, disgusting body as far away from me as possible. It's not rude. But on the other hand, everything, and most people don't mind being with another human, and they aren't struggling socially, I don't know. Now imagine that same situation, but with urinals. If you're in the middle urinal, do you move halfway through to the other urinal? Because I would. Are you supposed to talk to people when you're sitting 2 inches away from them? I always felt like I should say something, like, hey, did you see the game last night? Well, I didn't. I was busy drawing cartoons. But I realized that I do waste time. I'm worried about not talking to someone, and they're not talking to me either. We both agree that there's this unwritten contract between us that we're not even going to look at each other. It got me thinking about strangers and specifically how I treat them and how I can make money off of them. Hey-oh! I'm just kidding. That was a joke. For most of my life, I would go out of my way to avoid talking to people. I would stay in my lane, mind my own business, no eye contact. If everyone's using a urinal, I'd have to pee tomorrow. Yes, I'm lonely. But now that YouTube's a thing, I'm interacting with strangers more often than I've had to in my entire life. So I've been thinking a lot about strangers. And first of all, someone just because you don't know their name. Oh, I don't know this person? They're a stranger. They're strange. I'm the normal ones. They're the freaks. They probably murder people with an axe. It's always the go-to profession of a stranger, axe murderer. But the people you see throughout your day are all humans with their own hopes and dreams. And some of them may hope
Dad, what are you doing?
You'll never know because you never take the time to get to know them. So I think that the people you see throughout your daily life aren't strangers. They're potential friends. Except for the weird ones, obviously. Stay away from them. And yes, I'm telling you to judge people based on their appearance. They're the ones that chose to wear anime shirts in public, okay? So back to the bus scenario. I'm sitting right next to this fellow human being. So far, there's not a single reason why I should dislike this person. But I don't know why, if you put him and me on a bus next to each other, I want him as far away from me as possible. Just stop touching my shoulder! So that was the last time I took the bus. Unfortunately, that's not the only place you meet strangers. One time I was at Home Depot and I was looking for jumper cables and I couldn't find them anywhere. And I don't know if I'm the only human that's like this, but I will try everything in my power to not talk to a sales associate. I guess because I know they get paid minimum wage and their life sucks, and I just want to leave them alone and not make their job any harder than it has to be. But asking employees for help isn't even bothering them that much. In fact, I think it's part of their job. Like, what's the worst thing they're going to say? You don't know where one specific item is? Everyone else knows. Did you even look? They're in the
It says waiting for party leader.
Idiot.
I've ready
No one's
door.
gonna think that. So feeling desperate, I mustered up what little courage I had and swaggered up to someone wearing an orange vest and said, excuse me, do you know where the jumper cables are? I don't work here. Oh, you don't work here? And then he walked away. And then he waddled away, And then the very next day, bum, bum, bum. So I think the logical thing to do in that situation would have been to find someone who does work there. But I left the store because I didn't want to run into that same guy again. But I also bought a hammer because I didn't want people to think that I stole something.
Yeah, in 20 seconds.
Oh yeah. And by the way, if you wear an orange vest to Home Depot, just expect people to ask you for help. Same goes for people who wear red shirts at Target. You'd think I'd learn from my mistakes, but no, I have a bunch more examples. When my book came out, my publisher said that it was going to be carried at Barnes & Noble. And I thought that was super duper cool and wanted to see my book in the wild. Not to buy or anything, just to have a look at it. So I took my friend Adam from Something Else. We went to the local Barnes & Noble and started our... We looked in the humor section, didn't find it. Then we checked the new release section. So either the publisher lied or they sold out. But just to be sure, I asked one of the workers, hey, do you guys have a book by Odd One Out? He kind of looks like this. And the worker typed something out on his computer and said, oh yeah, we got those in the back. We just haven't put them out yet. Then he went to the back room, brought out a copy and handed it to me saying, here you go, kid. And I thought, well, great. I can't just hand it back to the guy and say, oh no, that's okay. I didn't want to buy it. I just wanted to have a look at it. Do you know how inconvenient that would be? So the only less awkward option I could think of was to buy my own book. And you know what? I'd get a couple cents back from this purchase, so it wouldn't have been a total loss. But Adam, being the more sensible one, said,
dude, this is ridiculous. You have to complain.
So then he went to the worker and said,
so he actually wrote this book. He just wanted to get a look at it, like, in the wild.
And the worker said, oh, that's so cool. Do you want to sign our copies? And then I thought, well, hold on. You're not even going to ask me for my ID? How do you know I actually wrote this book and I'm not some guy trying to deface someone else's? And then the guy gave me a whole stack of books, and I signed them all. Last story before I go. I was in the hallway of a building, and me and this potential friend crossed paths. He said, hello, and I was going to respond with, hello, and how's it going? But I combined the two and ended up saying, how? And then I jumped out a window and fell to my death. I can't rationalize that. Maybe I spend too much time on the computer, I'm not used to looking at real people's faces, but I'm trying to change. Don't get me wrong, going to conventions and meeting fans has helped me a lot with talking to people. Granted, those conversations are usually one-sided, and a real stranger won't already know who I am, but they've still helped me. Now, you might be expecting me to give you advice on overcoming social anxiety. I'm not the most qualified to give that advice, but I'll try my best. I know it's hard to feel confident, I'm still working on it, but you have to understand that we're all people, and we all have things that we're struggling with. And in reality, we're not all watching and caring about every little thing that other people do. We're all too busy worrying about what other people do. So with enough practice and believing in yourself, you can show the world your true colors, and I think you'll find that people are a lot nicer than you think. So if you're a little big guy on a bus, you have to decide whether or not to move. Do whatever you want, no one cares. Just stop touching my shoulders. Hey everyone, I know it's been a while. Thank you for being patient with this video. May has been a really busy month because some of you might know that May is my birthday month and I don't work on my birthday month, so if there's a lesson you should take away from this video is don't worry about being awkward, because everyone is weird. And if anyone makes you feel bad for being awkward, then not only is that person more weird than you, but they're also an a-hole. I have some events coming up very soon. I have VidCon, chess boxing, and then I'm also going on tour with a bunch of people that you might recognize, like Jaden, and Ross, and Domus, and Eagle Raptor, just to name drop a couple people. So if any of these events look interesting, you can buy some tickets in the description or through the event tab on my website. And if you're yearning for more Odd Ones Out content, I just wanted to remind you all that I have a second channel, and either today or tomorrow I'm going to be uploading a video where I answer some math questions with my friend Pat. Please watch it. As always, thanks to everyone who worked on this video, and a big, big thanks to you, dear viewer, for wearing your seatbelt.
Alexa, turn the heating on.
Hello everyone, it's me, James. I just wanted to let you know that I'm launching this card game called Cafe Chaos on Kickstarter today. There'll be more info at the end of the video. This isn't some bit. I actually made a card game and I worked really hard on it, so please click the link in the description to get your... My name's Joe Exotic. I exploit dangerous wild animals for profit, and that's only the least reprehensible thing I've done. In this 8-part docu-series, I'll show you the bad, the horrible, and downright disgusting aspects of what it's like to be a polyamorous, meth-addicted Tiger King. I'm the real Pokemon master, you hear?
It's just like that. By watching other garbage humans like this time of Baja, get yourself into some small world of
James Smart.
I'll be real with you, being in quarantine has sucked a lot. I miss hanging out with friends, I miss going to non-essential businesses, and I miss wiping my butt with toilet paper instead of my dog. All I've had for company has been flute and my own mind. So it's been a little hard to stay motivated during this time. But if staying home and going to Disneyland will save people's lives, then I guess I'll have to make that sacrifice. It's so hard to be a good person. Some of the things that have been helping me mentally has been exercise, a positive mindset, and garbage television. I used to think that garbage television was stupid and a waste of my mortal existence. But as I started watching more garbage, I realized that I've already been fascinated and enjoyed watching garbage content for years. Have you seen the videos I make? I've said this in my conspiracy video, that I love watching crazy people talk for hours. I get those same people, give them a camera crew and a budget, and you got a brand new show on TLC. What's that? You've never heard of TLC, the Learning Channel? Well, TLC is full of wonderful programs and documentaries that'll teach you if you become trashy enough, you'll end up on TV. And that's what schools should be teaching. No, this video isn't sponsored by TLC, but if they wanted to sponsor me, I'd say no. I just want to be on an episode of My Strange Addiction. I'll tell you when they did.
I do so.
One show I've been unhealthily binging is called 90 Day
Here it
Fiancé.
goes.
It's about when a boy meets a girl, or a girl meets a girl, or a man meets a much younger girl online, and they sort of like each
Don't worry,
other,
I'll
but
give you
they're from
a
different
chance.
countries, so when they meet each other, they have 90 days to decide if they want to get married before their visa expires. It's great that the internet exists so that these clearly desperate people in different countries even have the chance to form a relationship. And it's equally great that the internet exists so we can watch very personal moments of these strangers'
I
lives.
finished this game.
Really shines with the most
Bloody
garbage
hell.
of couples. I've seen other YouTubers talk about this one specific couple, Big Ed and Rose. I don't want to make fun of Big Ed's appearance, but let's just say he saves a lot of money on scarves and turtle. He's a 54-year-old pursuing a relationship and wanting to marry a 23-year-old Filipino woman named Rose. And Ed has a daughter that's 6 years older than Rose. And he's older than Rose's father. Can you imagine for a second if your mom was 6 years younger than you? And on top of that, Ed is a huge liar. He lied about his height, he lied about wanting to have kids with her, he's also really mean to Rose. I mean, sure, he's old enough to be your father, so he's probably used to talking down to young people, and a dad telling their kids that their legs are hairy and their breath stinks is justifiable. But this is his girlfriend. At least make her a bad lunch first. Even if I thought Big Ed was the best guy in the world, do I think a relationship could work between people with a 31-year age gap? Well, let's take a look at the math. Here is the half-year age plus 7 rule dropped out, so if you're 30, then it's socially acceptable to be dating someone who's 22. Now, obviously, this graph is set in stone, but for reference, here's Big Ed's age versus Rose's age. So when Ed was 40 and taking care of his 16-year-old daughter, Rose was 9. So do I think an age gap of 31 can work? Well, mathematically and common sense speaking, not until Ed is 76 and Rose is 45. I think that'll take longer than 90 days though. The second and third reason I love this show is David and Lana. I haven't seen any YouTubers talk about this couple, but they need to. Meet David, a 6-year-old guy from Vegas who's fallen head over wallet for a Ukrainian woman named Lana. He spent 7 years and $250,000 US on a relationship where he hasn't even met the other person. He's tried to meet up with Lana on 3 separate occasions already, but got stood up every single time. Now he's putting all of his credit cards on the table and is willing to risk it all on a 4th trip to Ukraine to meet his soon-to-be mail-order Marichema. Doesn't speak English. Long story short, they meet after 13 episodes. David gives her a brand new iPhone X to text him on, only for him to get eternally ghosted because her nails were too long to text him back. Let me remind you that they were in contact for 7 years. That's how old Rose was when Ed was 38. Me briefly describing these two's relationship just now was so much of an emotional roller coaster that I don't even need to go back to theme parks anymore. It makes me want to puke, and I hope you can see why I love this show so much. I know that reality is fake, and who knows if this entire relationship was scripted and manufactured for the show. But I don't care if it's fake. This file is real. Watching garbage television all day isn't as fun or healthy as it may seem, believe it or not. Even though I spent a good portion of this video hyping up trash TV, you should also be doing something productive, like watching YouTube videos. To compensate for all the garbage I watch, I've been exercising more. Right when the pandemic began its exponential spike, I bought a home gym machine, and I've been working out 3 times a week with my friend DJ. DJ and I met because we're both friends with Alan Becker, who makes these animations versus animator videos, and one day I noticed that DJ's muscles were a lot like one of my Japanese animes. He was a walking, breathing protagonist that my body dysmorphia had been holding me back from becoming. I reached my skinny hands out to DJ and said, "Hey DJ, can we work out together?"
Should we go over to Lazy?
Yeah.
This is where I got the treadmill.
Lazy.
This is my favorite piece of equipment. This rag up here so I don't bump my head when I do pull-ups.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is where I keep my air conditioner because it gets very hot in this garage. This is what it used to look like a month ago. Anyway, the reason I started working out more seriously was because people were calling me skinny.
Let's go, Jeff. Let's go, Jeff.
Synonyms like slender and scrawny. And I told my friends that I was hurt by these comments.
Let's go, Jeff. Be careful.
Wait for me.
I am a slim. It's important to have a reason for working. Mine is self-loathing. So I'm forcing me to push myself. We we've only been going for about 3 months, or a whole 90-day fiancé, and I've already got
And Storm's like, hello?
struggling to live up to my expectations. Sorry if I'm flexing too much on you.
Mommy, you bitch. Get off.
Some productive activities during the day.
You
For example,
bitch.
exercise. You don't need equipment. Do 10 push-ups right now. Clean up after yourself. During these hard times, keeping your space organized and tidy will be a big boost on your mental health. Wear a